Good afternoon, I'm J. Lenora Bressler, and welcome to the August 15, 2018 edition of the Bible Delight in the Details. There are 4 Gospels, as you know, and each of these was written for a different audience, and so it presents Jesus in a slightly different perspective. And when you really want to get the full-bodied understanding of Jesus, you read all of them. But there is something very, very special about the Gospel of John. John's gospel is different. It is not one of the synoptic gospels, which literally means to be read together. It has a whole different feel. And one of the reasons is that it starts not in any way like a biopic, but it starts with those very grandiose kind of beginning of, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And this idea of Jesus Christ being something more than just a man, more than just a good man, but nothing short of the glory of God and God Himself. You know, it amuses me when people say that Christ never claimed to be God. That is just wrong. I mean, you can think He's not, but to say that He never made those claims is kind of ludicrous. The covenant name of God in the Old Testament, as many of you know, is Yahweh. And it literally means I am. I am. And this was the word, the name that God told Moses to use when explaining to the Israelites who He was and who was going to be bringing them out of Egypt. There are 7 I am statements by Christ in the Gospel of John. Now, those of you who are numerologists, you know that numbers matter in the Bible. They have not only a literal meaning, but they have a symbolic meaning. 7 is a fullness, a cycle, a completeness. So the fact that Jesus on 7 occasions made a statement, I am, shows that He was directly identifying with the wholeness and the completeness of God. And He was literally saying, I am God. And I am God in every way that you understand God to be. Now, what are some of those statements? Well, they're beautiful, and I encourage you to read the Gospel of John and read it through one time with no other intention other than to spot the 7 great I am statements. I am the bread of life. I am the living water. I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the vine, and it goes on. So, when Jesus was asked, about who He was, and He made the statement, before Abraham, He said, I am. He didn't say what you would kind of think He would say. Before Abraham was, I was. No, He specifically said, before Abraham was, I am. Trust me, the Jews of that period, they understood that He was identifying Himself as nothing short as Yahweh Himself. That's why they wanted to kill Him. Because if you weren't God and you claim to be God, you use the covenant name of God, which these people wouldn't even say. They thought it was so holy that they would not even speak the name of God. And here we have somebody who is not only speaking the name of God, but is claiming to be that very God. Either you are or you aren't. And if you are not, then you are indeed a blasphemer. You are, in these folks' minds, the worst of the worst. So the idea that Jesus Christ never claimed to be God is just ludicrous. And if anybody ever argues that to you, you just tell them, I'm sorry, but we can argue about whether or not He is, but we can't argue about whether or not He claimed to be, because He did. In the most blatant terms that the Jews of that period would have absolutely understood. And trust me, they understood what He was saying. To us today, it is a glorious gospel. The Gospel of John many times is the most favorite gospel for many people. And one of the reasons is because it has these firm foundational statements where Christ said who He is. I am the shepherd. I'm the good shepherd. I am all these things that we love. So I would encourage you to take Jesus Christ to the bank, so to speak. He claims to be nothing less than, and the entirety and the fullness of the Godhead, of Yahweh himself. He is the same in the New Testament as he was in the Old Testament. And I encourage you to take him at his word. He is God. And then look at the 7 descriptions that he says are the essentials of God. What is God? What is he? And when you realize that he is the bread of life and the living water and the way, the truth, and the life, and all these different things, you will see that he can be and is everything you and I need for a successful, happy, and meaningful life. I'm J. Lenora Bressler. Visit me on the next edition of the Bible Delight in the Details. Have a great day.